The Ticket.
Podcasts are brought to you in part by Lewis Jewelers, the official jeweler of The Ticket and proud partner of Michigan Athletics.
The WTKA online at WTKA.com. Sam Webb, I Rewind, Tribe on the other side. And the countdown continues, but after I get my weather report, are we feeling, we can't be feeling any effects of Ida up this way, are we? Can we?
I don't think so. I kind of felt like for about 3 minutes yesterday driving, I was around mile marker 15 on 23. I felt like I was in Ida for like 3 minutes. I went from clear, and you know how you can see in the distance, the rain, and it looks like a mist shower coming? Yeah, it was like someone just turned on this, like a heavy shower. All of a sudden, Grace, quiet. Like 3 minutes, I was fine. So, but no Ida. And in fact, today, Sam, 3% chance of rain. Tomorrow, 6% chance of rain. As of now, anyway. Wednesday, 6% chance of rain. Thursday, 5%. Friday, 6%. And I'll go through Saturday at 13%. And the highs all week. So this week, today, mid-80s, but it's okay. Everybody's closed today because it's Monday. So the polo field is closed. The pool, the golf, everything is closed. But it reopens tomorrow when we get down. The rest of the week is going to be low 80s, high 70s, low chance of rain. We're going to have a beautiful week for multiple things. Beautiful week to play golf. Beautiful week for afternoons at the pool. Beautiful week to sit outside on the patio and eat all over with our friends at the polo fields. A great place to go and take advantage of these opportunities. For more information, you can go to polofieldccmi.com. It's 18 championship holes. You've got the practice area for golf as well, the tennis court, the indoor workout facility, the pool, and the dining area. All that available at polofieldccmi.com. And, of course, Sam, we're also watching the weather for 5 days from now because we will be back at the corner of Stadium in Maine. We will be inside the Bud Light Victor's Lounge. And the weather right now for Saturday looks pretty good. High of 79, low % chance of rain. Now, it's only Monday. A lot of things can change. And who knows how all this stuff, Ida impacted your travel. Ida impacted the volleyball team didn't get their third game down because they had to get out of Baton Rouge before Ida came in. They were there Friday and Saturday, and they had 2 matches scheduled for Saturday. They played the early match. They didn't play it against Florida State, won it, and they did not play the late match. They left.
Yeah, so they can get out,
So they can get out, yeah, so they can get out. So it doesn't look like we have any of those issues right now, but, you just ever watch these past, one of the earlier storms, it was going north, and then all of a sudden it just goes like 90 degrees left, takes a 90-degree turn north and like a 90-degree turn right. You're like, what are you, like, it's just crazy.
It's great. My flight down, and by the way, let's finish telling people about the polo fields.
PoloFieldCCMI.com.
Yeah, man.
PoloFieldCCMI.com.
Yeah, as you know, I was in Monument, Colorado. Beautiful, beautiful scene out there Thursday, and flew into New Orleans Friday, or I was slated to fly into New Orleans early Friday afternoon, and the flight was delayed. I mean, it just, the effects of the weather had already started to come through, which was, I thought I was going to miss it completely, but the early stages, the outermost effects of the storm had started to come in. So my flight was delayed, got on the ground, the thunderstorms had started to move in and maybe delay the game that I went to see, which featured Notre Dame committer Marion Walker, who Michigan is pushing fiercely for, and they were squaring off against Arch Manning. And I'm telling you, but those guys, like, a Manning. When you see, even with a helmet on, you can tell he's a Manning. You could just, he just looks like, if you close your eyes, or if you weren't up on him, you'd think it's Peyton Manning walking onto the football field. He looks like Peyton Manning just physically. But anyway, they wanted to get that game in. It was a big game. And fortunately, the weather cleared. But, man, I was worried like you wouldn't believe. Because the hotel, when I got back to New Orleans about midnight that night, the hotel said, look, we do not have backup power. When power is out, in New Orleans, power is out here. We will not be able to assist or help you in any way. And so there were signs everywhere. You could see the traffic going out of town. I was heartened by that, actually. The people were taking the weather report seriously, and a lot of people decided to hightail it out of there because they were saying it was going to get there as a Category 4 storm. So I'm sweating bullets all night, hoping beyond hope that I can get out the next day And I was able to got home Saturday afternoon. And as we flew out, Ira, it was crazy. It was, you know how the saying, the calm before the storm? It was literally the calm before the storm.
The thing did come from somewhere, Sam.
It'd be literally the calm before the storm, man. I mean, it was like clear sky.
Yeah, there are three really eerie moments when you have like a hurricane, right? You have the calm before the storm. You have the eye, right? Because if that eye, especially if it's a big eye, you can get that, and because you see it all around you. And then the end of it, because you've seen the devastation come through. And those are the three, because could all be really clear. Mm-hmm. But there's something eerie. Either it's coming, it's all around you, or it's just gone through, and it's really eerie. And so you saw the beginning of it. Thankfully, you were able to get out and get back home. Volleyball team as well. And as you said, I was watching the news. I was seeing the pictures and the videos of, the traffic cams essentially, and the highways just, flooding of cars, not flooding of people at that point, or flooding of water. It was flooding of cars to get out. Eventually, the other part happened as the weather was just vicious when it landed. So glad everybody got out. And now we're able to continue our countdown to the start of the Michigan football season. And then hopefully everybody down there is safe. And Theus, I messaged with him. He seemed like he was a little on the side of where the storm was, but again, still a lot of rain and all that down there. So
I got family in New Orleans that they were doing fine. Got to check on them this morning. So that was one of the things I'll be doing in one of the breaks. So
I'm sure our athletic director is doing the same thing, checking on down there. All right, Sam, let's get to the countdown. We got a lot of catching up to do, a lot of work to do, because there are 2 7s, 2 6s, and 2 5s. Saturday, we were a week away. We were 7 days away. Let's call Saturday, Sam, West Bloomfield Day. Because there was a freshman and a sophomore. They both wear the number 7. The freshman is from West Bloomfield. The sophomore is from West Bloomfield. The freshman is 6 foot, 202-pound running back Donovan Edwards. The sophomore is 6'3", 192-pound defensive back safety Makari Page. So, Sam, let's talk about the guys that Ron coached in high school, and one of the guys that Ron's now going to coach in college, the two fellows from West Bloomfield, starting with the freshman Donovan Edwards.
Just a tremendous physical talent. I mean, he has the size at 6. I don't know what they list him at on the roster, but
6'2", 202.
6'2". I was gonna say 6 foot 200 pounds. Legit breakaway speed. Legitimate breakaway speed. I'm sure by now, if you haven't been to any of his games, which I guess the majority of our listening audience hadn't been at his games, but you've seen his highlights, I assume. And how many just breakaway runs did you see? And then he is a physical runner. Because one of the things I remember hearing early, so he participated in spring ball, right? Some of the defensive guys, even some of the defensive coaches, like, man, he bounces everything. He bounces everything. And when I heard that, I was like, well, maybe he just knows he can bounce it. Don't let the smooth taste fool you.
It's also a pretty natural instinct for a high school kid to bounce it, isn't it?
I suppose, but I took it more as a sign, he just sees that he can get outside on you guys, like with ease. I mean, it's the path of least resistance. I mean, this is not a guy who will not lower his shoulder. He is a physical runner, too, will absolutely run between the tackles, get yards after contact. If there is a piece of his game that you're like, ooh, because we're going to get back to strengths, but there is a piece of his game that you look at and you say, man, bro, he's going to have to tighten that up in college. Ball security, Ira. He's playing for the right coach to work on that, right? I mean, Mike Hart probably can count the number of times he fumbled on one hand. And all of them, I think, occurred in his final game against Florida. Yeah, I don't know. Did Mike fumble any other time in his career?
It was like first game and last game, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's like he never fumbled. I mean, ball security was unbelievable, whereas the ball is like a balancing, a balancing instrument for Donovan. At times, you can see him turning the corner, swinging the ball for balance, or he'll, how defensive linemen have a swim move. He has a swim move with the ball, going over defenders at times. So the ball can be a little loose, at least it was in high school. Could be a little loose, and that's something that I know that as a coaching staff and Mike as a running backs coach, without even talking to him, I know that had to be something that they emphasized and focused on. But that's about it. When you talk about what pieces of his game do you look at and say, you know what, we'll see how quickly that translates. Everything else translates quick. He's going to be a factor for Michigan Saturday. He will get carries. He will be a factor. Because the other thing that he does really well is catch the football out of the backfield. I mean, he is a tremendous receiver. So much so that if you went to West Bloomfield games, which I went to several of, I mean, there are games where I think the first game I went to last year, he played the majority of the game split out. So he has all the tools. Now, I stopped short of what the commentators during the state championship game were saying. I mean, it was, I can't remember who was on. I know Shep was one of them on the call. Now, Shep didn't say this, but whoever he was with had seen a lot of high school football too. And he said, man, Donovan Edwards, tremendous talent, all the things I just talked about. Best running back I've ever seen out of the state of Michigan until now. That had been Tyrone Wheatley. He's better than Tyrone Wheatley. It's a, oh boy, recency bias like you would believe. Like you would believe. Because I think Donovan is amazing. But Tyrone Wheatley? Or maybe I think Donovan is outstanding. I think Tyrone Wheatley was amazing. An amazing, amazing talent. Still haven't seen a high school athlete from this state as good as him. So, but hey, man, if you're the best running back prospect since Tyrone Wheatley, that's a hell of a slate to be better than. Now, ultimately, you have to prove it on the football field, right? You got to do it on game days. There has been a Heisman Trophy winner from the state of Michigan since Tyrone Wheatley, right? And some other big-time running back performers since then as well. So there's a lot to prove on the college stage before we can anoint him. I can say right now that I feel confident that he will be an impactful freshman. He will be one of the guys that when you talk about instant performers in the 2021 class, I'm talking about across the conference, across the country, his will be one of the names mentioned. On the other side of the ball, Makari Page, a hawkish figure at safety that got a chance to get his feet wet last year. He needed to get bigger and stronger. But the versatility that they coveted at the safety position by the former staff did, and the current staff, he possesses it. He can cover slot. Very fluid to be a guy who is 6'3". This is one of the things that I think impresses you most, that he is a guy who can flip his hips, turn and run, has good speed, legit 4.6 range speed, high IQ guy. And that comes from Ron playing him everywhere in the secondary. He played West Bloomfield's version of the Viper, but he also played safety. He also played some corner. I mean, just all over the secondary, and learning the different positions helped enhance his knowledge of what everyone in the defense is supposed to do. So had him more ready than most to come in and grasp the concepts and be ready to play, but he needed to get bigger physically. And so now with a year under his belt, you feel like that he is more poised to contribute, and that frees Michigan up. That's part of freeing Michigan up to move other guys around the defense, like a Dax Hill, who I expect you might see mostly at nickel this year. But if, as I say, you might have to break that glass in case of emergency, you can do that with him too, in part because of a kid like Makari Page at the safety position. All right, so that brings us to the end of the 7 o'clock hour, the end of that portion of the update. But we are going to press on, right, Mr. Weintraub?
And that was only Saturday. We have yesterday, number 6. There was 2 guys there. And today, of course, because there are 5 days until the Michigan football season, there are a couple guys that were the number 5. So we will continue into the top of the hour because, I mean, come on. Who's not excited for game week? Who's not excited to talk about these players? And, I mean, I'm ready to go.
Let's go.
Saw Scott Frost lose on Saturday. Got my football blood pumping. Now I'm ready for Michigan football.
He said it's the same movie over again. Who's the director, Scott? I'm just saying, who's the director? Who's directing this movie?
I love the director.
You got to get to a break. Back on the other side here of the Michigan Insider on Sports Talk 1050 WTK The Ticket, the official voice of University of Michigan Sports, Ann Arbor, a Cumulus station.